Let's talk about the concept of being uncomfortable. So I hear this banded around a lot with in the business world, but also with self-healing, this idea that in order to create change, we've got to get uncomfortable. And I was thinking about it and mulling. I think what triggered it was somebody put a comment on one of my posts, a lovely comment, but in the comment they talked about sometimes people just aren't ready. And I thought, I felt myself kind of prickle at that. I thought, I don't sort of see it like that. I think it's often finding the right people to work with because that brings out the best in us. I have also personally experienced driving myself into discomfort in order to create change, and have really done a lot of stepping out of my comfort zone in the last 30 years. And the change I make from that space is never sustainable. I always revert back, whatever it is I'm trying to do. And this is why I don't necessarily agree with this idea. I don't think you have to leave your arm in the fire to get to where you want to go. I do think sometimes we need to do things slightly differently, but I think it's about understanding yourself, how you operate, and working with nourishing people who can really support you as you do that. And after years of, taking advice or thinking, oh, I need to go and do that because that's worked for that person and that's the next thing. And then it actually feels very uncomfortable for me. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel aligned. It doesn't feel like that next fluid step. But going ahead anyway is just painful and stressful and causes more trauma in the system. And I have always said that the act of healing does not need to be traumatic in the system for it to cause the change. And again, I've been through all of that. I went out on these incredible trips to the Philippines to see the psychic surgeons. That's a whole other story. And was in huge states of discomfort on those trips. And within weeks of being back, I would just revert back because my system was in need of a different way of doing things. So I really, when I'm looking for people to work with me, I'm always looking for nourishing, nurturing and supportive, because I know that that is going to help me create sustainability in that. And when I work with people, that's what I aim to do, is work at their pace. So I don't dictate the perimeters. I work with them and I check in with them. Is this, some people, I've had all kinds of clients over the years. I've had clients who've come every week for a year. They've wanted that level of intensity. It's been comfortable for them, and that's what they've needed for change. I've had clients who've shown up once a month. I've had clients who've shown up once and I haven't seen them for 10 years and then they've come back. And I really believe that our job as practitioners is to allow the client, the patient, the student, the space to really understand what is right for them, because that's part of the healing. It definitely was for me in coming through cancer. Part of the healing was getting my power back. Part of the healing was in learning to listen to my intuition and make decisions that were aligned for me, not because someone else suggested it, not because a book written by someone with credentials up to here, but because that's what my soul and body were calling for. And so this is how I aim to work with people when I work with them, is to help them ignite that in themselves. And I've always jokingly said, if I'm doing my job correctly, I'm putting myself out of business. But it's kind of true, because I'm aiming to help them find the tools to be sustainable in their own lives on their terms. so they can go out in the world and flourish and not rely on me as a practitioner or as a healer. They're doing it for themselves. And I believe we all have that available to us, that accessibility, which is why I've been talking more and more about self-healing as opposed to going and getting the help. But if you are someone who needs a bit of a kickstart, that is what I do. I help you kind of connect with yourself, find your power, get you into a place where you really feel confident in listening to your own intuition. Got loads of tools we work with, and help you clear anything that's in the way along the way. So if that appeals, get in touch. Take care.